we can continue our Harikatha. Especially Mahaprabhu appearance very soon. So very important to absorb so much in what Mahaprabhu is teaching. So especially also like about glories of Mahaprabhu's that's why this Navadvip Mahatmya are very nice. So like if you can read also, you don't depend, sometimes you're busy on evening time, Girdhar giving classes. It's Navadvip Mahatmya, very nice. But on your own, you should read like this. Because now all many Vaishnavas, they have that opportunity, they're going Navadvip, and they're doing this parikrama. We're not doing that. But it does not stop you from, going there also. No one can stop you like this. If you desire, then you can go to Navadvip right now. And that thing is there. Visa and all this, the passport is there, available. You don't need this, plane ticket or money like this. You can immediately, right now, go to Navadvip. And how? There, pick up this Navadvip Mahatmya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur immediately giving you this. Now with Lord Nityananda, then now you're understanding. Because also, you can go there physically, but if you're not in association of Vaishnavas and not reading, not absorbing this Navadvip Mahatmya, then really, you cannot also really be there. So that is like that. This time, very important time, very good, like become absorbed in this. You can read morning and evening, 2 times even, or 3 times, just absorb. Then really, you're in Navadvip. And when Mahaprabhu's appearance, they come, they're like, yes, like you're already in Navadvip, and then Mahaprabhu comes to Navadvip. So now we're reading some nectar. We know this is Chaitanya Charitamrita. So our daily dose of nectar from all these teachings of Mahaprabhu. You remember? Where are we? What did we read? Where have we last time? Don't forget now. No problem, it's understandable. Kali Yuga, that's Kali Yuga, like this. We forget. But that's why we try to remind. So, it has already been mentioned, no? When we talk about Mahaprabhu teachings, 3 departments, right? 3 divisions. What are they? Sambandha, Abhidaya, Prayojan. Yeah, very clear. And you know already what each means, no? Sambandha, meaning relationship. Abhidaya, Sham, meaning Abhidaya. Okay, the process, activities. And last one is Prayojan, meaning our goal. What is our goal? Pray. Okay, so then he was talking about Mahaprabhu. These teachings is like summarized into 10 points. Remember? And this is embodied in the Dasamul Shiksha. So here in this book, that's the first thing he's showing us. So what is the first one? What is that? The Brahman Tattva. What is our evidence? What is our evidence? If someone asks you, what is evidence, of all your teachings? So how do you say? In one word. Amnaya. Amnaya. And Amnaya means, now this one, of course, if someone asks you, just say Amnaya. You don't expect them to know. But this is like your formula, It's like a code. Like every problems to solve, there's some formula. So it's just like a formula. And that should remind you, because in just one word. So Amnaya means what? Yes, the teachings from the Vedas that is handed down through the disciple succession. Okay, so like 2 things there. So you cannot just say, the Vedas. It has to be received from the disciple succession, which means that the purity is intact. It's not contaminated by like outside, like speculation or anything. And why is this the evidence? Why? Because this Vedas is what? It is self-perfect. It is perfect in itself. Okay, it's self-manifest, meaning it's manifest by Krishna himself. And this is pure evidence, because everything is declared there and it's absolute truth. It's not like the conclusions based on our senses. Our senses can be mistaken. You know, something perfect, that is imperfect. Okay, so that is one, Amnaya, or the Brahman. So then, what are the following, or the rest? So it said there's one, so that's 10 minus 1. The rest are the teachings themselves. Okay? So it's important first to establish the source, and then based on that, then you can start teaching. Like this. So, what are the 9? Then you can say, as Bhakti explained, 7 are in Sambandha. 1 on Abhiveda and 1 on Prayoja. So the 7th one, you still remember? It's good to repeat this because these things are, you may say, oh, very technical, like this. But yes, like these are Siddhanta. Meaning these are the perfect conclusion by which later on you have to explain based on them. Like this. So we cannot be lazy and we just jump on, like we just want Lila, you know, like this. Otherwise, okay, Lila without foundation from this tattva, it becomes mundane. You talk about Krishna enjoying with the gopis and like that. Then it becomes like mundane, no? Like ladies and boys, they're enjoying. But if you know all this tattva, then you can see, oh, like, oh, this Lila so great, like this. Oh, this Lila so sweet. Like this. Okay, so 7. You can remember how, like, what are the 7? Yeah, 3 about Krishna, 3 about the Jiva, and 1 is like the relation. Okay? So that whole thing is about Sambandha. So what's the 3 things about Krishna? What is that? Yeah, 1 you can just think that he is the Paramatattva, the first one. Krishna Tattva. About the Krishna Tattva. He is Paramatattva, meaning nobody is higher than him. He is second to nobody. Krishna, he is Swayam Bhagavan. That is what we are discussing now. That Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. There are many manifestations also of Bhagavan, but ultimately the Swayam Bhagavan is Krishna. Okay, so that is first thing. And that is, this is really one prominent of Mahaprabhu's teachings. This is a very first thing to understand. Because like in some Sampradaya, they would say Ram is the Swayam Bhagavan. You know, they would say like that. Or they say Narayan, or they say Vishnu, Krishna is coming from Vishnu. Like many, they think like that. But our conclusion, and really you will see, if you really study the Vedas, all the evidence is there. And yesterday how many evidence so far showing Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan? You know what the slogan? We mentioned yesterday. Ite Jamsa Kala Pumsa Krishna Bhagavan Swayam. Directly telling. Then there's another one. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. We memorized that yesterday. You memorized that yesterday. You forget now, huh? Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the Parama. Param Ishwar. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Anadir Adir means? He has no beginning and everything begins from him. You know, like this. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Sarvakarana Karanam means? Cause of causes. So like those. Okay, so that's number 1, huh? And second, about Shakti Tattva. About Shakti Tattva, which really is a discussion of Krishna is the Shaktiman. You know, the discussion of Shakti. Okay. Then third is about Rasa Tattva. That Krishna is the enjoyer of all rasa. He is the object of all mellows of love. Like this. So these 3 things about Krishna. Okay. Then about the Jiva. 3 things also was the first one. Yeah, like Jiva Tattva, like the Jiva is part and parcel of Krishna, but separate. It's called Jivinamsa. There's part of Krishna which is directly his part, Swamsa. Those are avatars, like that. They're all Vishnu Tattva. And some are like Shakti Avesh. So Those are swamsa. But Divinamsa, they're parts. Why? Because they're actually part of Shakti. But they're not directly an Amsa of Krishna. They're separate. The Jivas are like that. We are from the Tatasya Shakti, or the Jiva Shakti. Okay, so that's the first one of the Jiva. The other one, next one. One is about the Baddha Jivas. There are Jivas who are bound in material world. And another one is about the Mukta Jivas. Jivas who are liberated from Maya. So that's already 3. So then plus other 3, 6. What's the other one? About Achinta Veda Vedatva. That everything is Bhed. What's Bhed? Different. Everything is different and non-different from Krishna. Okay, so then that is Sambandha. Then one about Avideya. What is our Avideya? Bhakti. And our goal, Prayojan, Prem. So now, 9. Okay, then 10. So yesterday, we ended with the point, you still remember which point? The same. Yeah. Actually, that section is telling that what is the qualification to have darshan of Krishna? He said, unless false ego is there. You remember that point? He said, unless the false ego is there, then you can never have darshan of Krishna. So, what's false ego? False ego meaning anything that is not you, like the false identity of yourself. It does not just necessarily mean that idea that you are not the body, I mean that you are the body. Okay. But generally, the most subtle of this false ego is that I am the enjoyer. I am the center of everything. And really, that's the whole mood of everyone in the world. You see, even now as a devotee, this contamination is still there. Like you see things only in relation to yourself, like that. Even you accept the guru because like, it's I in me, it's like I, like that. You know, I am the most important thing in my life. I, like it's always I. And based on that I, then there will be this mind. Me, mine, like that. So that is the false ego. But later on, it will only be just for Krishna. The I will become like, I'm the servant of Krishna. It will all be like dovetailed towards, like the center is Krishna. You know. You know. Okay. So, that time will come when the false ego not there. When some Mandagyan is established, then no more. Like really, some Mandagyan fully established, only that stage now. Before that, everything is abhas. It's still just a semblance. Yes. But you know, even in the stage of bhav, some smell is there. You know, some smell of the thing is there, like that. Because you're not, okay, you have connection already to the world, to that world in the stage of bhav. Because now the ray of prem already there in the heart. This Latinian Sambit already now has come on the platform of Sandini, like that. They say like that, you know. So now, okay, some connection with Shuddha, that spiritual existence is there. Okay? It's there now. But that's only one ray that has to be developed. And there's a tendency that you can regress, you know, like, or you go back. And the only way that is that if you can commit some offense. That's the only way, really. The other ones gone. All other types of anarthas are gone. But the tendency to again develop anarthas, it can be only based on like when you commit offense. Like this. So anyway, but generally that is like very strong, that one, because in the stage of bhav, you'll be mad. You know. Krishna. So I can't speak about that because I don't know that stage. We just like hear about it. And lucky devotees, they may experience like staying with the devotees. They may see that. And some they may even like directly like have that experience, but they will not understand because they don't have this. What is that again? Vidvat pratiti. You know, like remember our first thing, vidvat pratiti, avidvat pratiti. Yes, that's the thing. Like it is explained also like that. That when you're with a devotee, then that's the fortune of whoever is associating with the devotee, because the prem or whatever mood in his heart can reflect on your heart, you know, and it can reflect on anyone. So sometimes someone can be very new. It's been explained. Someone very new, maybe a Mayavadi is coming. But because there's an actual devotee there, and they're chanting Mahamantra or they're doing kirtan, then you can see this Mayavadi, and he's also experiencing like, you know, like he's shaking and all these symptoms of bhav also, like that, you know. So then you may say, oh, he's in bhav. But actually that's only because there's someone who's really in bhav and it's just reflected on him. You know, sometimes experience like that. And you also can experience like that. Like sometimes you don't get on, you experience like, oh, you're just crying and you know, you become like this, or sentimental, and there's some mood separation coming. And it really is because some devotee is there present. Look, if they're not there, that will not happen. Like this. So that's how you can tell that your bhav is fixed or not. Like this. And also, you have to understand, this shraddha, that's already a fraction of this bhav. So there is actually bhav in the smallest unit of bhav. And it's just going to be more and more complete. Then it completes and become a one whole like unit as a real frame when you attain the state of bhav. So, back to the point. The last point yesterday was saying as long as the false ego is there, even though he may be doing worship also, even if he may be doing worship, but as long as false ego is there, he will not have darshan of Krishna as he is. And so then Bhaktivinoda is telling, oh, then you should, these like things that's related to false ego should remain very far away. Otherwise, this even understanding of this truth becomes very far away from you. So how does this false ego sometimes manifest? They manifest pride. Pride from, we have examples, this is the last point I think. Ivor, what else? From wealth. Yes. And you might be chanting name, but name not coming. Your name is Krishna himself, right? So when you say your name, that means you can see the form. Generally, the name comes first as sound, right? But then you chant name, then the sound becomes manifest as form. So it's not just sound, but it's sound plus form. But then the more you're purified, then sound, form, and gunas, these qualities, like this. And then after that, then you will see, oh, he's not alone. He is with all his pashad, his parikars. Then you will see, oh, there's whole activities going on. There's a whole pastime. When you're chanting name, then you see a whole pastime. Then you enter into this pastime, and you're there, like this. But that time will not never happen as long as your mind is possessed by. There's two ghosts, two witches is there. What is that? Bhakti and mukti. Desire for self-gratification and liberation. Like this. You may be doing all these activities in bhakti, which is, in reality, they are a source of pleasure. Bhakti is a living shakti. But then you can question, am I happy? Some people are doing so much service, but I'm not happy. They're crying not because they're ecstatic and like happy because they're but they're like crying because like they feel like they feel sorry for themselves. Like, why am I doing this? Like I'm not happy doing this. Like that. No, you should be happy. Like this is bhakti. And why is that situation happening? Why? Because now some ghost is possessing their whole consciousness. What is that? The desire for enjoyment, I mean material enjoyment, or the desire for liberation. So the desire, maybe I could be watching movie now, but now I'm here like, oh, like, you know, cleaning all this garbage, like that. You know, or I could be like sleeping very nicely now, you know, but I have to go mangalarti like this, you know. So there's that desire that's like taken away like this. But if you really understand, no, this is our life. That's their life. When ruchi comes, then there's no more like. Now we try to, you know, by intelligence, we try to, no, it's like this. We try to make pacification and all this, you know, by logic, like that. So, and in Nishta, easily you can do like that, and your mind will pacify, but you're not tasting anything. When Ruchi comes, no need to explain, now you're tasting. Oh, so much attraction. And when Asakti comes, like, so much attachment is there. They will tell you, hey, don't go, and you will go. Like that. No one can stop you. Like this. So, from stage of Shraddha to this Nishta, like in once, you know, like this path of bhakti, that is like the longest time, like this. This anartha liberty, this is the like very critical time, and that's the longest time. But once you enter ruchi, asakti, bhav, then it becomes very quick. That time you're already running. Like this. Before you're like sometimes stopping, sometimes going back, like that. You know, like this. But from ruchi, asakti, then bhav, becomes very quick now, like this. So in Madhurya Kadambini, Gurudev, in that chapter on Anartha Nivritti, he said you should read this chapter again and again. This is the most important chapter, like especially for sadhakas. You learn this because then it tells you like, you know, everything, and then it's like you're going to your location. You already know all the different, you know, like the things in the map, and then you're guided properly. So he said that chapter on Anartha Nivritti is very important chapter, and it's the longest chapter also. So, like, study this, like this. Read this again and again. Then it's very helpful. And yeah, then after discussing praying, he said, I'm not going to discuss anymore, you won't understand anyway. At that time, that's beyond our mind. Alright, so here, so that's where we ended. We continue now. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's saying, the biggest fault of mundane materialistic scientists is that they want to understand topics beyond the scope of their present qualification. So everyone, we have their own qualification now. The mundane scientists, we know the qualification is only like, okay, this, you know, based on material science. What I see, that's the only thing. What I cannot see, that's not right. You know, like this. But he said there are some things beyond that. And the thing is, they want to understand these things beyond that, but within their level, you know, their qualification. So this is their biggest fault. Materialistic science has no jurisdiction in non-material affairs or philosophical truths. All these tattvas. He's saying this material science has no jurisdiction on this. Like a shameless person, material science forcibly interjects itself into the path of transcendence. It makes worthless and erroneous conclusions regarding transcendence, and finally deforms the very subject matter itself. Understand? It's like someone without shame. You know, someone without shame, no cloth. They go to a party, all like dressed nicely, like that, shameless. What happens? He just like, you know, like becomes like an embarrassment, like this, and he corrupts the whole mood there. Maybe like you know, a religious like service or like that. Everyone like that, and someone comes naked or like this, you know, drunk like that. So it's like that. Like they're like shameless persons. This material science, they're forcibly going there and like playing jurisdiction on all these transcendental matters. What happens? Oh, they just they make worthless and erroneous conclusions, and they deform the subject matter. Like that. Eventually concluding that a transcendental entity does not exist. So ultimately, they like that. Like, oh, God does not exist. no one can see God. It doesn't exist like this. And in reality, like, even really, many things you cannot see, but they themselves will accept, you know? Like, they can't even see their own eyes, you know? Now, so, the science becomes disconnected forever from the subject matter. Yeah, with them, then science becomes disconnected forever from the subject matter. By the association of saintly persons, natural humility awakens within the heart of the jiva. And it is upon this foundation of humility that Sri Krishna bestows his mercy. An important point here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is stressing on this. Like before, he was telling us, no, as long as false ego is there, then you will never know Krishna. And usually, yeah, when there's this pride, I can do, like this. It's like you depend so much. You think, you know, you're so great. Like this. But this we have to appreciate. On our own, by our own strength, you cannot, this truth is beyond us. You cannot learn. The only way we understand this is really if mercy comes. So that's why they have this term, no? The ascending and descending process, right? You heard that? Swami Prabhupada also would mention like this. The descending and the ascending process. What process we follow? Descending process. Because we just fully depend on Bhagavan. Like you surrender to him, that's all our process. You know, we surrender to him. You be humble. So he's saying like this, you become humble. And really feel that I am worthless, I am useless, I am hopeless, you are my only hope. If that type of mood is there, Bhagavan is bound to be merciful. Like a little kid, you know. Like little kid is there and like helpless, then automatically mother will always be ready to protect. Like that. But if little kid now is like, I'm not little kid, I'm big now, like that. Like okay, when he becomes big, mother no more, you know, okay, go like that. So our process is like that. We attract the mercy by becoming humble. The other process is ascending. And how is that? So on your own, you try to go. Like to climb a mountain, you know. So we give an example. There's a mountain. You want to go to the top of the mountain, then you can climb. That is because you can do that because the mountain has no will, you know, has no desire of its own, like dead. But Bhagavan is not like that. Bhagavan has his own will. You may try to climb the mountain. But if this mountain will move, then you cannot, you know, you have to chase. As long as the mountain, you know, like this. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, so how to become humble? Then he's making this point. By the association of saintly persons, by association of sadhus, then naturally, this humility awakens. So it's a natural awakening. It's not something you do like, what is opposite of natural? Artificial. No, it's not artificial. Because sometimes we think, what's an example of artificial humility? Sometimes we think humility is like a behavior, you know. So then you imagine, what is the behavior of a humble person? Oh, a humble person, like he speaks very soft, and he doesn't talk so much like that. Like whatever you have your own impression of a humble person. Then you imagine, and then you imitate that. You know, and then you think you're so humble, you become so proud, I am so humble. Like that. You know? So this is artificial. He said humility naturally will come if you associate with the sadhus. Why? Why? Because sadhus, for really, one thing, when you are with the sadhus meaning they're fixed to the eternal, to the sat. You know, they're fixed to the eternal world. They have connection to that highest thing. And what is that? Like praying. It's like when you stand in front of a skyscraper or like a big mountain, Mount Everest, then naturally you feel small like that. So when you are with sadhus, then you will actually appreciate how great persons they are. Like this. And then you naturally become humble. And then you're like, oh, I'm so far away, I'm not like him, I want to become like him, like that. And then you take shelter. Like that. So it's very natural. So I said, it is only by Krishna's mercy can one become qualified to enter into the understanding of tattva, this transcendental truth. One can never understand non-material or transcendental topics through material knowledge or science. Okay, so that's the conclusion there. By material knowledge or by so-called science there, you cannot understand all these non-material topics, these transcendental topics. Krishna has unlimited varieties of energies. By our insignificant knowledge, we can never understand which energies are being manifested in the infinite universe. Beyond the material world is the Viraja river. Okay, did you get that? Krishna has unlimited varieties of energies. So many kinds of energies. That by our insignificant knowledge, we cannot understand which energies are being manifested in this infinite universe. We cannot even understand like how many energies are there or like various. So he said beyond the material world there is the Viraja river. So this Viraja river is already outside the material world. There's a river, Viraja river. This is like the border between the world and the spiritual world, between the material world and the spiritual world. Beyond that, so beyond that river, more than, so that the border is this Viraja river. Beyond that are the spiritual planets of Vaikuntha. And he said, beyond even these Vaikuntha planets is the planet of Golok. And within Golok is Raj. In Vaikuntha, Sri Narayan is manifest with 4 arms and he has complete opulence. So we know that. In Golok, his opulence remained hidden by a profuse display of sweetness. So he's not saying there that in Golok there is no opulence. He said in Golok, his opulence is hidden by his abundant display of sweetness. So actually it is said that in Golok or in Raj, opulence is is more than in Vaikuntha. But this is the sweet, the speciality of the place. That so much more, the sweetness is there that this opulence is completely hidden, becomes insignificant. Sri Krishna is Swayam Shaktiman, the original source of all potencies. His Swarup has one inconceivably great potency, Mahashakti. In some places, scripture has called that potency Maya. It is stated, Niyati Anaya iti Maya. Maya can be called the external manifestation of Krishna. Without Maya, Krishna cannot be perceived. Learned persons who know Tattva have called this Maya the Swarup Shakti of Krishna. Okay. So here, generally when we say Maya, we're thinking of this Maya Shakti of Maya. But here we have to understand the context of the explanation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's saying that original Shakti, Mahashakti, although there are so many varieties of Shakti, but all they're coming from original Shakti. So this Mahashakti is that in some scriptures, this is called Maya. And we can understand why he's showing like this. Because in some scriptures, especially those, who are worshippers of Durga, like that, then you would always quote this, oh Maya, Maya, Maya. Like that. Actually Maya referring to the original Shakti. And that is the yeah. Yes, I'll explain that. Here, I will read it again. It is stated, Niyati Anaya iti Maya. Maya can be called the external manifestation of Krishna. Meaning, Krishna cannot be perceived externally, without Maya. By Maya, and here we have to understand. Here we're referring to like how he's saying, the original Shakti. Without Shakti, really you cannot understand Shaktiman. Like I said, everything is understood by Shakti. Because you know, what is the function of Shakti? This is now we provide, what is the function of Shakti? Yeah, everything that the Shaktiman desires. You know? And what the Shaktiman desires is done by the Shakti. So, in reality, Shakti and Shaktiman, you cannot separate. You cannot separate them. Because there's no Shaktiman if there's no Shakti. There's no Shakti if there's no Shaktiman. Meaning they're always together. You cannot really separate that. And even, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that even the Brahma Jyoti, sometimes you think, oh, Krishna without Shakti is Brahma Jyoti. But really, even the Brahma Jyoti, how is this Brahma Jyoti manifest? Or like, be known? It's also by Shakti. Everything can only be known by Shakti. So, and therefore, really, you cannot separate Shakti and Shaktiman. So now, Jiva Goswami is saying that to try to really understand how they are the same, how they're not separate. He said that Shakti is really the Dharma of Shaktiman. Shakti is the Dharma of Shaktiman. When you say Dharma, meaning the nature, the function. Every vastu has a function. So what is, who is Shaktiman? What is the speciality of Shaktiman? That differentiates it from Shakti. Because, they may not be different, but there's still some difference. There's still some difference. The Shakti is not independent. Shakti is not independent. Shakti cannot decide, I will do this. Shakti only does what is decided by Shaktiman. It is not independent. Shaktiman is independent. And Shaktiman is full of ichcha, desires. So these desires is followed by the dependent Shakti. Shaktiman is independent. You following? So, let's say Krishna, he is completely transcendental and he wants to manifest his beauty like this. That is his desire. I'm the enjoyer, I'm beautiful, and like that. So how is that happening? Arrangement of his Shakti. So we said that even his form is coming from his Shakti. So this is the thing now. Our mind cannot sometimes it's like, what is that? It's like, it's contradictory, But that's the thing. Words have limit. So when we talk about Shakti has three functions: Sandhini, Samvit, Ladini. So Sandhini means existence. So everything that exists is coming from this Sandhini, this function of Sandhini Shakti. This is the function of Sandhini, which is manifest existence. So now it says Krishna has a form like this. And his form is himself like this. But how is this form manifest? By the Sandhini Shakti, which is his Shakti. The thing is now you're trying to divide them as separate. No. But no, you cannot separate that. Krishna manifests his form by his Shakti, this Sandhini Shakti. So then you may say, oh, his form is coming from Sandhini Shakti. Sometimes they say like that. And then you become confused. Because I'm not going to understand. So he said, therefore, without the Shakti, you cannot see the Shaktiman. Because everything manifests by the power. You understand? You cannot understand Shaktiman without the Shakti. For one, you cannot see his activities without the Shakti. So in this way, he's saying like that. Without Maya referring to his Shakti, Krishna cannot be perceived. And also, because of Maya, Krishna also can remain hidden. Like this. So even in the spiritual world, we know Krishna is a Parameshwar and everything. But in the spiritual world, unlike and this is going back to the first point, in Vaikuntha, Narayan is there in his full glory. Everybody knows he's God. No. But in the spiritual world, that fact is there. He is God. I mean, in Goloka Vrindavan, he's there, but that is hidden. like that, by his sweetness and by Yogamaya's influence, then they never see Krishna in that opulence mood. Oh, he's God. They only see him as my beloved child, like this. Otherwise, how would they can chastise? How they can play? So in Vaikuntha, Krishna has no friends. He has no mother, father. Because he's God, he has everyone as his servants. So really there, he just there like ruling and being served. He does not play. He doesn't play. Here he's just making like a generic like term, Maya, which can be Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. In the spiritual world, that's Yoga Maya, and in the material world, it's Mahamaya. And everything is happening because of this Maya, by the Shakti. And in that world, with Yoga Maya, then Krishna's opulence is hidden. In this world, Mahamaya also, his Bhagavata is hidden also to the materialist. But also by that Maya, then here in this material world, then we cannot actually see him like this. But that Maya now is not the Mahamaya, that is the Yoga Maya. Yeah, the Yoga Maya now. Like this. So, learned persons who know Tattva have called this Maya the Swarup Shakti of Krishna. Okay, so when we're talking about this Maya, meaning that original Shakti, that is another term by learned persons is Swarup Shakti. Maya has been separated into divisions. The superior, they call it Parashakti, known as the Chit Shakti, and the inferior, the Aparashakti, known as Maya Shakti. Okay, so now the term again is here. So he said this Maya, now another term is Swarup Shakti by many persons who are learning. So he said this Swarup Shakti has two divisions. There's the Para and Apara. What's the difference? Para referring to the superior energy, the completely transcendental energy, Parashakti. Parashakti. So he said that Parashakti is called Chichakti. And then there's the Apara. The Apara. So now it is called Maya Shakti. Actually, Parashakti is the only Achincha Shakti. And its shadow is called Aparashakti. Did you get that? So there's two divisions. So there's Para and Apara. But he said, but in reality, the real Shakti really is only the Parashakti. The Apara is like a shadow of that original Shakti. But yeah, it's still considered a part of the Shakti, but it's only like a semblance, it's like a shadow. Without the original, that will not exist. So like a shadow. Shadow is not the real thing, it's not the original thing. But it is connected to the original. Without the person, then no shadow, no. But that shadow is coming from the person. So, the presiding goddess of this material universe is that shadow of the superior potency Parashakti. And she is called Maya. Did you get that? See, the presiding goddess of this material universe, who is that? The goddess of this material universe. The presiding, that's how? Durga. Parvati or so Durga, she is the shadow of the Parashakti. And she is called Maya. This Maya Shakti, the shadow potency, which is related to the material, not Maya Shakti in the form of Swarup Shakti, is shunned in discussions of spiritual affairs due to her contaminating influence. Did you get that? Because this Maya Shakti, now when he's saying now, this Maya Shakti, he's referring to the shadow potency. He's not referring to the Maya that first was described as the original Swarup Shakti. No. So he's saying that Maya Shakti is shunned. Shun means what? Like avoided, like rejected. Huh? like rejected in discussions of spiritual affairs. Why? Because she has contaminating influence. Because of her contaminating influence, then in any spiritual affairs, Maya is always, that's why you see a child, Maya, like that. They have to be shunned with Maya. For this reason, Srimad Mahaprabhu said to Sanatana Goswami, Krishnera Swabhavika Tina Shakti Parinati Chik Shakti Jiva Shakti Ara Maya Shakti. So this is still in where? Sanatana Shiksha. Take note, many of these sources, because now we're in the discussion of Sambandha, all coming from Maya, from Sanatana Shiksha. Coming from Sanatana Shiksha. And because, all many discussions of Mahaprabhu is about Sambandha to Sanatana Goswami. And therefore, many things we learn from Sanatana Goswami is based on that. So Sanatana Goswami is our Sambandha Acharya. So he's saying here, the Lord Krishna naturally has three energetic transformations. So he said, Krishnera Swabhavika Tina Shakti Parinati. Parinati means transformation. So this natural transformation of Krishna Shakti, teen. So what are they? There's the Chit Shakti, the Jiva Shakti, and the Maya Shakti. So these are three transformations of his Shakti. The original is Chit Shakti. There's the Jiva Shakti in between. And then there's the shadow, Maya Shakti. The Chit Shakti is completely different from Maya Shakti. They can never go together. They're like complete, like they're on the opposite ends, like that. But there's one Shakti that has that special qualification. Can be on both, like this. That's the speciality of Jiva Shakti, like us. So there's some speciality in our, as a Shakti. It can be on both. Ananta Shakti Madhye Krishnera Tina Shakti Pradhan Icha Shakti Kriya Shakti Jnana Shakti Nam. So again, this is from Sanatana Shiksha. He's saying Krishna has unlimited potencies, out of which three are prominent. Okay. So Krishna unlimited potencies, but really only one. One in the sense that they all coming from one potency, from Lord Shakti, but manifest in so many ways. But then, however this Shakti manifests in unlimited ways, three are very prominent. Okay. So there's Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Jnana Shakti. So he said Krishna has unlimited potencies, out of which three are prominent. Icha Shakti means the desire potency. The potency of desire. Then, Kriya Shakti, Kriya Shakti means activity, power of activity. And Jnana Shakti, that is power of knowledge. So where do you think these three terms refer to? Because we only know, like referring to Satchit Ananda, referring to the three functions, there's Sandini, Samvid, and Ladini. Sandini referring to what? Existence, Sandini. And then there's Samvid referring to knowledge. And Ladini referring to like bliss, happiness. Okay, now, so they're using different terms here. Icha Shakti, meaning desire potency. And then there's Kriya Shakti, the activities, active potency. And Jnana Shakti, knowledge potency. Okay, to which Shakti do you think directly correspond? All of them? No. There's three. So they correspond to the three. So which do you think corresponds to Sandini Shakti? Existence potency. Which one? The Icha Shakti. Why? Because really, what determines someone's existence is that he has some desire. Like the desire to exist. He desires to live like that. So when someone has desire, that means he's alive, like he's existing like this. So that is Icha Shakti corresponding to Sandini. Then what corresponds to Chit Shakti? And when we talk about cognizance, consciousness, like that. There's Gyan Shakti. No. And how about Ladini? Bliss. Huh? There's only one left. There's only one left. It has to be this. What is that? The Kriya Shakti. So Kriya means like active, So, and really that they correspond, they're kind of related. Because unless you perform your real activity, you'll not be happy. So, like service, Ladini Shakti, we say happiness. Okay, when we say Ladini Shakti, we're referring to Bhakti, right? Bhakti Shakti. It makes everyone happy, Ladini happy. But what is that? What is the nature of this Bhakti? It's service, it's Kriya, activity. So, Srimad Mahaprabhu also gave these instructions to Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So, from Chaitanya Charitamrita, quoting 3 verses. Satchit Anandamay Hoy Ishwara Swarup, Tin Angse Chit Shakti Hoy Tin Narup, Anandam Se Ladini, Sat Angse Sandini, Chit Angse Sambit, Jare Gyan Harimani, Antaranga Chit Shakti, Tatashta Jiva Shakti, Bahiranga Maya, Tine Kore Prema Bhakti. Okay. Some words are familiar, so somehow you can give some, you can speculate on what they're talking about. Okay, translation saying, the Swarup of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His original form is full of what? Satchidananda. Eternality, knowledge, and bliss. The spiritual potency in these 3 portions, so in these 3 divisions, Sat, Chit, and Ananda, they assumes 3 different forms. So he's saying like that. Who is saying like this? Mahaprabhu will explain to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Again, I'll repeat. So you can see how Mahaprabhu explained this in a logical way. He's saying Krishna is the embodiment of Satchidananda. Without Shakti, you will not see this Vigraha. Isvara Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, right? Satchit Ananda Vigraha is the very embodiment of the Satchit Ananda. So without Shakti, you will not see this Satchit Ananda. So this Satchit Ananda, they are actually manifested by Shakti. By power Shakti, then you can see this Vigraha. So he said these 3 divisions, Satchit Ananda, they assume 3 different forms. So they have, each one have their own forms. So he's saying that Satchit Ananda assumes 3 different forms called Ladini. So Ladini, that is the form of, what do you think? Ananda. Sandini, that is the form of this Sat, the eternality. And Sambit, that is the form of that knowledge potency. He said, we accept these 3 aspects as full knowledge of the Supreme Person. The spiritual potency of the Supreme Person also appears in 3 ways. Okay. So, aside from that, those like 3 forms, he said, they also appear in 3 ways. That means even these 3 forms can also appear in like 3 ways. One is internal, and that is Antaranga Shakti. One is marginal, the Tatashta, or the Jiva Shakti. And external, the Maya Shakti. These are all engaged in this loving devotional service. Prema Bhakti. In Jayavadana also, this is nicely explained. Because, this Swarup Shakti has transformation, right? We just heard that. There's 3 transformations. In its original form, there's the Chit Shakti. right? The spiritual world, that's the original. And it's like shadow, which is already like a manifestation. That is my Shakti. And another transformation of the Shakti is the Jiva Shakti, who can be on both worlds. So, there's three. Now, these three things, Sat, Chit, and Ananda, is present in all three also. So that Sat, Chit, Ananda is present fully in the Chit Shakti, right? In the Jiva Shakti also the Sat, Chit, Ananda is, but in a limited form. But in Maya Shakti, it's also there, but in corrupted form. The Sat, Chit, Ananda also is there, but in a corrupted form. Let's take, for example, Sat, existence. This Sat, how is that manifest in the spiritual world, in the Shakti? That is actually called the Antaranga Shakti. In Antaranga Shakti. How? Like existence, everything existence. Yes, everything that is existence there, that is through that Sat Shakti, Sandhini Shakti. Existence of the different parikars, existence of the holy dham, all existence there. Okay, so that is an example of that function of that Sandhini in Antaranga Shakti. Now in Maya Shakti, how? In Maya Shakti, how the Sandhini potency? By the existence of the material world, the different material planets, material universes, all the different kinds of material bodies, everything that is existence in the material world, that is by the function of this Sandhini potency in this Bahiranga, the Maya Shakti. Okay, now for the Jiva, or the Tattva Shakti, how is that? By the manifestation of the different the Jivas. So, only that. So that's the existence. And Chit, knowledge, so how? Yeah, really, that's like all the knowledge. Like in the spiritual world, all the knowledge that oh, Krishna is my beloved, is my friend, like this, is all from that Chit. No. In the material world, there's also all this different knowledge. And my father, and like that. Huh? Like all material knowledge. That's in Maya Shakti. And all knowledge related to the material, that is a manifestation of this function of Chit Shakti. But in the Bahiranga, this Maya Shakti. All this knowledge that. But how about for the Jiva? What is that? What is the Chit? The knowledge that I am spirit, I am in this body. Knowledge that I am not matter. That knowledge. That I am Brahma. Like this. Yeah. Aham Brahmasmi. Like that. I am spirit. Only up to there. Like this. So, and that's the highest knowledge, that Jiva can attain. And that's enough to liberate you. But that's not enough to bring you to Vrindavan. You have to go beyond that and attain the Sambandha Gyan that's in there. Like this. Okay, so then, what's the last one? Ladini. In the spiritual world, then this is felt by the rasa. Yeah, really. The rasa of their relation. That relation is based on knowledge from their Sambandha. Radha and Krishna, they're experiencing all these different transformations of love. Like this. That is Ladini. So Radharani goes up to very high, Madhamakya Mahabhava, like that. These are all manifestations of this Ladini. In this material world, what? Yeah, all this sense enjoyment, like all this happiness from that. But what about for the Jiva? I mean for the Tattva Shakti? Yeah, only the Brahmananda. Okay, there is Premananda in the spiritual world. And we hear Jalananda in material world. And for the Jiva, it's called Brahmananda. Understanding the happiness of the spirit. Ultimately, the highest attainment of that is now when you merge with the Brahman effulgence. Like that. Only up to there. But that is not the ultimate happiness. It is only like a hoofprint of a cow compared to the ocean. Yes. Yeah. Because that is how far the jiva's power can attain. So Brahma bodies, they attain that. Maya bodies, they cannot attain this. One have to understand. Maya bodies, they're offensive. So they don't really attain this. Maya bodies, because of their offense, they became like very low species of life. They became like stones or, yeah. Okay. I think we should stop here because I have already so much. Some diarrhea may come. Not enough to digest. So we can continue next. We're stopping from there. At that point, next discussion is how the Shakti is transformed. Okay, I think we just have a preview of that discussion. Now we discuss. We will go like that. Okay, Jai Shri Jai Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jai Chaitanya Shri Jai